This is a tutorial for the website readtheory.org. This is a reading comprehension site that can be used to add activities to your class for reading interventions. What I like about this site is that once you set up your account and your students set up their account, it does all of the work for you. You just have to really keep up with the data that it provides back to you. I've used sites like No Red Ink. I use that for my students for grammar practice, but I have to pick the topics I want my students to practice. It doesn't just have them take a pre-test and then decide, okay, this student needs help with verbs, and the student needs help with run-on sentences, and the student needs help with verbals. I have to go in as the teacher and say, okay, everyone in my class, you're taking these activities for this assignment this week. Or this particular student, you have to do this particular activity. With this particular website, though, readtheory.org, all my students would do is take the pretest and then at least one reading quiz, and the system will begin assigning texts and quizzes based on what skills or areas students need to improve. This makes it highly individualized and allows teachers to differentiate reading interventions. The amount of data available to both teachers and students is really helpful. Students get to see their Lexile scores. They get to see what they're struggling with. This could be more specific data for teachers, but I do appreciate that students have access to their Lexile and their scores. So I'm just going to go through. When you first go to the website, it has just kind of this sample text and some questions, and you could go in and start practicing it. But it's available anywhere on any device. They could even do this on their phones. But once you sign up and log in, then you as a teacher have to do a little bit of setup. You have to create new student accounts, or you can put the responsibility back on your students, have them log in, create their own accounts, and then track their progress after they sign up on their own. Obviously, for me, this would be something I would do with my students because it's for the more older and independent students. So on the teacher side, you log in, you review the pending student invitations on this page, accept button, and then you go straight into the progress report page and begin tracking progress. Your students would have to log in, sign up, then log in and go to the My Teachers page and put in your email address. So that's what my students would do here. I did set up just some sample fake names for this tutorial just to show you how once you've added some students to your class, then you have access to these progress reports. Now, I did not actually set up the accounts for those fake students that I added, but I really just wanted to show you the data that you get back here. So it shows you how many quizzes have been completed in your class. Students earn points for the quizzes that they take, so how many knowledge points do they have? What is their average on the pretest, and what is their average on the throughout the program. It also gives you a grade and Lexile average, which is really interesting to know. So the knowledge points that each student earns for the activities they do, the quizzes that they've taken, how many of them were above the pretest level, how many were at the pretest level, and below the pretest level. This, to me, is a really great feature for those reading intervention classes you may have to teach, because one of the things we are always looking for is our rate of growth. Are the interventions that we are using showing that our students are getting better? Are the interventions working? So I think this is a really important data point to be able to collect. Grade level of the quizzes taken before and during the program, the Lexile level performance, pretest average, and then the program average. Again, when I would use my RTI program that we have at school, the program that we use to determine the tiers in our MTSS program, one of the challenges with that is as the students progressed through the program, the only time I got feedback on their Lexile changing was when they did a benchmark assessment. So during those weeks when all we were doing was our progress monitoring, I wasn't seeing whether or not that was having any effect on their Lexile. So if someone did suddenly jump in a Lexile range, they did suddenly make up some progress there, they may still I may still be giving them reading assignments at a lower Lexile level when it's not necessary, when I could challenge them a little bit more with some more challenging material. So this is all the data that I think is just fantastic with this particular website, and that is one of the reasons that I would use it. Another feature is that students can actually create written responses, so it's not just a multiple choice type quiz that will go with the reading. You can actually receive some written responses back depending on what this system offers your students. Now, the caveat here is I have not gone through this as a student, so I have absolutely no idea the validity of these promises that readtheory.org is making, but I definitely think it's a program I would like to try out with my students and see. There is a fair amount of information about the research that goes behind it also on the website. So my ISTE standards for this website are the Student 1C. Students use technology to seek feedback that informs and improves their practice and to demonstrate their learning in a variety of ways. So I think, again, this website puts a lot of that power back into the hands of students. It doesn't just say, we've identified your issues and now we will do something about it. It allows them to say, hey, here's where I am and here's where I want to be. How can I get better there? Also, ISTE Educator E2C, model for colleagues the identification, exploration, evaluation, curation, and adoption of new digital resources and tools for learning. Our school is currently trying to figure out whether or not we can afford to purchase the premium content on No Red Ink because so many teachers use it. We are also trying to find reading interventions for our MTSS program. That's just not something that we as a small district have been able to afford, either one of those things. So for many of us, this is what we are having to do. Go find out what is out there, explore it, try it, evaluate it, and then come back and decide, is this a digital resource that we want to put in our collection of options for our schools. So it's been really interesting being someone who can help make those decisions. And I think readtheory.org at least deserves an opportunity in that area. So that has been my tutorial for readtheory.org.